Could this be the year? Can the Iowa State Cyclones knock off the Iowa Hawkeyes? It's been 20 years since 2004 since Iowa State last beat Iowa in a dual meet. It's hard to believe, but it's just true. Iowa has absolutely dominated this rivalry. Now, every single year, especially the last few years, it's been like there's a path here, there's a chance here for the Cyclones, and every single year Iowa figures it out. Now, I will say this year does feel a little bit different. I think you could reasonably talk yourself into the Cyclones being favored in 6 matches, right? I think you could say Iowa State's favored at 25. They won the last match there. You could say Iowa State's favorite at 41. Echemendia just more proven at 141 pounds. 149, Jacob Frost is an All-American. Panero Johnson, a guy with wins over Shane Van Ness and Max Murin and a lot of really good guys. He's probably favored on paper over Ryder Block. 57, you favor Zurban over whoever Iowa uses at 57. There's a question there, right? We don't know if it's going to be Jordan Williams or Voinovich, so you would favor Zurban. 65 is Caliendo. 74 is Kennedy. 84, Ferrari. But then 97 and heavy, I think you favor the Cyclones. And just like that, that's a 6-4 split. Now, I'm going to dive into it much deeper than that, but at a very simplified, basic level, those are just, Iowa State has the more proven guys in 6 weight classes to 4. That's kind of inarguable. Now, the reality is Iowa's going to have a major say here, and they've got a really, really good squad. And what we're looking at here, this isn't just a rivalry match. These are 2 of the best teams in the country, right? This is like number 3 versus number 4 in America. So this is just 2, juggernaut squads going at it. Now, I've got these broken down into 3 categories. True toss-up is my first category. Second category, nervous to say favorite, but say it anyways. These are pretty close. And then the third category, I feel decent, right? There's no fourth category, which most duels would have a match where you're like, okay, this is kind of a lock. Jesse Mendez is going to beat, Nasir Bailey, whatever. There's no match like that. There's nothing where I'm like, oh yeah, stamp it. This is happening, no doubt about it. But I feel decent on that group. All right, so here's my group. The true toss-ups. Actually, I'll start with what I feel decent about. What I feel reasonably confident. Starting with 133 pounds. I feel decently confident Drake Ayala is going to win this match. He won last time. Now, I will say, it was 5-5 late in this match last year. Drake got a takedown, then he got another takedown, and then the score was a little more lopsided than what the full match kind of showed. But really, the full match is not over till 7 minutes, so you can kind of go either way on that. Point being, Frost has been competitive. He is a past All-American, but right now you just trust Drake Ayala in these kind of spots, and I think he wins here. As good as Evan Frost is, right? 165, I feel decent saying Michael Caliendo is going to win, and you should say this should be more of a lot. Well, Connor Uten is a guy who had the lead, who got the first takedown on Michael Caliendo, blew his knee out, didn't wrestle again the rest of the year, and wound up losing that match by decision. But Uten clearly can compete with Michael Caliendo. He's been really solid so far this year. And I think this would, if we didn't know so much about Michael Caliendo, you might say, oh, this is more towards the toss-up range. But Caliendo is just such a proven guy. He wins these matches, and I feel decent about Caliendo winning. Same for Patrick Kennedy over MJ Gaitan. And maybe this is my most, I think, lopsided matchup. I would say Kennedy and Gaitan, or whoever Iowa State uses at 174. Really just, Kennedy just matches up well there. He's a point scorer. I think this is an opportunity for bonus for the Hawkeyes, and an opportunity they may need to take advantage of if they want to win this dual meet. 84, I feel decent about Angelo Ferrari beating Dean, formerly of Ryder, now at Iowa State. But I'm telling you, this guy is so hard to score on. Basically, all his matches are within 1 to 2 points. He's going to be within a takedown, I would guess, to win this match late. And anytime there's a match like that, you can't put this as a lock. Even though I believe that Angelo Ferrari is a lot better than Dean. That being said, if the margin is only going to be a takedown, then that puts it in the margin. That means the other guy's got a good chance to win. One hard double, one shot, one slip up, and you can lose the match. So I said that one, and then 285, Younger Bastida. He won pretty soundly last year over Ben Keeter, and he was dealing with some injuries. Keter's now been dealing with injuries. I feel pretty decent that Younger's going to win this match. But hey, this is Ben Keter, super prospect. He was a freshman last year. Got a little bit bigger. That could be a factor for him. But right now, I feel pretty strongly that we're going to see Younger win this one. All right, next category down. Nervous to say favorite, but I'll say it anyways just because I don't like to say, oh, they're all toss-ups. Well, then that's not very helpful information or analysis. 49. A little nervous to call Paniro Johnson a favorite over Ryder Block, just because Paniro wrestles a lot of extremely close matches, right? It's kind of his calling card. He wins these one takedown matches, these super, super close bouts. And Ryder Block's, this guy's really good. I mean, I think he's a two-time Fargo champion. He wrestled at Who's Number One, battled a lot of injuries, but now he looks healthy. He looks pretty tough. And even though Paniro is, has got way better wins at this point than Ryder Block, it's going to probably be a close match. Now, the X factor here and why I skew a little more towards favorite for Iowa State is they also have Jacob Frost. And Coach Dresser said, hey, well, Paniro won the first wrestle-off, but it sounds like Jacob won the second. And so it could be Frost we see here. And he's actually the only returning All-American for the Cyclones. So I think, they can only wrestle one of them. I think both of them are, undeniably favored to beat Ryder Block, but I think it's going to be a close match. I think there's no counting out Ryder Block in this match, and whoever they use, I'd be surprised if it's a lopsided win for Iowa State. I think this one's going to be really, really competitive. And for Iowa, this is one where if you pick this one up, it's a big deal. This is one that could maybe turn the dual meet in your favor. So look for a great match there at 49. I think 141. Nervous to say favorite, but I'll say it anyways. Anthony Etchemandia over Nasir Bailey. Nasir hasn't found his offensive groove at this point at 141. At 133 is maybe, he was never a volume attacker, but still a guy that could reliably go get his takedowns. But now it's been more of a struggle for him. And Nasir's a guy who early in the season, he's not the same as he is late in the season. He's had some really good postseasons and whatnot. So I'm curious how he progresses throughout this year. But Etchemandia, just more proven at 141. His ability to shoot, get upper body, I think he's going to positionally challenge Nasir Bailey. And unless Nasir can really get his tilts going, which, Etchemandia's proven to be very serviceable underneath, I think it's going to be tough for him to win that way. It's going to be a neutral battle, and I think Etchemandia just has too much of an advantage there. Vinny Zerban at 157. I'm nervous to call him a favorite, but I'll say it anyways. I think Zerban should be favored just for the simple fact that I don't know who Iowa's using. If you told me right now Jordan Williams is definitely wrestling against Vinny Zerban, I would put this squarely in a toss-up match. I think it's absolutely a toss-up. But right now it could be Voinovich, it could be Jordan Williams, and I think Zerban is a pretty clear favorite over Victor Voinovich. And so that element of doubt of who Iowa's going to wind up using makes me want to say it's a slight edge here for Vinny Zerban, an All-American, a guy that's got a lot of accolades. He's been ranked number one at different points in his career. Jordan Williams is someone that anytime Jordan Williams is in a match, he's got a chance to win, right? He's got that clutch factor. He's got the scrambling. He's got the upper body. Just a really dangerous wrestler from a lot of positions. So if I knew it was Jordan, I knew he was healthy, I would say, okay, this is a toss-up. But right now, I don't know that. So I'm going slight lean Iowa State. And then 197, this is the one I deliberated on the most. Rocky Elam versus Moen Dean. Moen Dean, he's really been the biggest, I've been saying, he's the biggest individual story of this November. Coming from the D3 ranks and starting at Iowa and just having an undefeated start to his season, beating 3 or 4 ranked guys, including the number 4 guy in America, Max Stout of Pitt. This guy's been a revelation. But that's, while he gets his flowers there, Rocky Elam is a guy that's been on the podium 4 times, right? He's wrestled in the NCAA semifinals. He's placed 3rd at the national tournament. This is a guy with a ton of great, great wins. And I think he's deserving of the favorite designation until proven otherwise. Now, Moen Dean is just, he's that guy. He is a guy that can win this match. He can go out, get a takedown. His tank looks really good. Could that be a factor? Could Dean have a conditioning advantage over Rocky Elam, who, one, he's big for the weight. Two, he's on a pitch count, battled injuries throughout his career. We're going to learn a lot about Rocky Elam, but the fact is, when this guy is on the mat, Rocky, he wins, right? And he's won at this level for 4 years and change now. So it's nervous. I'm nervous to call Rocky a favorite, but I think looking at all the available information, which it's a limited sample size for Dean, I think you lean towards Rocky Elam. And then we have a true toss-up at 125 between Dean Peterson and Steve-O Poulin. You could say, man, Iowa State should be favored. Steve-O won this match last year in the round of 12. In their only meeting, Steve-O won 6-4. But I went back, I rewatched this match, and Dean Peterson comes out, gets that first takedown, nice high crotch, elevates, gets the finish, good job. And then really the story of this match was the second period. Steve-O Poulin put a really tough ride on Dean Peterson, and Dean worked hard for a reversal for a really long time, gave up tons of riding time. And there was a point in time where it looked like Dean was going to come out and get the reversal, maybe even backs. It was one of those, it was sort of reminiscent of like the Dean Heil, Jimmy Gulabon situation, except they were not neutral, they were top-bottom. And they just wouldn't give the loss of control, they wouldn't give the reversal, even though it looked like he was kind of holding Steve-O on his back. Steve-O was able to recover, found his way to the leg, it got stalemate, or he got called for stalling, whatever. And Steve-O gets the ride out, he gets an escape in the third, he gets a takedown of his own, and winds up winning this match. Where I would say, you know, maybe you favor Dean slightly on his feet, you would favor Steve-O on neutral or on the mat, and so it makes it a true toss-up. I tend to err on the side of the guys with the neutral, right? So you would maybe lean Dean Peterson in this situation, but it's a really close one. I don't know why. I just feel like Dean is gonna. I think he's due for a good match, right? He's a really good wrestler. He's beaten a lot of good guys. He's been in the fire. Yeah, he starts with Bellarmine and then national duels. That was 3 really hard matches. And then he wrestles Pitt, overtime match. I think he's due for a good one. And consistency has always been a challenge for Dean, and maybe to an extent Steve-O. But Dean, you know, you beat a national champion, and you lose in the next round, and you lose in a round of 12. You never quite know what you're going to get. This guy beat Luke Lillidahl last year. So I'm leaning Dean here. And I'll give you my all 10 matches. If you listen to FRL, I already gave them here, but I'll kind of go rapid fire. 25, Dean Peterson. 33, Drake Ayala. 41, Echmandia. 49, Iowa State. Whether it's Pinheiro or Frost, I favor them. 57, Iowa State. 65, I go Caliendo. 74, Kennedy. 84, I go Angelo Ferrari. And then I got it going Rocky Elam, Younger Bastida to close it out. That's a 5-5 split. It comes down to bonus points. Who are the best bonus point candidates? Of course, there's always a chance for a more random pin where you catch a guy in exchange. That could happen. But if you're just looking for like the biggest differential, I think there's 2 candidates. I think there's 1 on each team. I think Kennedy is a great candidate for bonus against MJ Gaitan. Is a guy that can score points in bunches. He can, and really, it can be a 1-2 point match, and then in the third period, Kennedy can pour it on and get 2 or 3 takedowns late and get a major. That kind of bout. And then for Younger Bastida, I think he won like 7-2 last year over Ben Keeter. Was dealing with some injuries. Younger looks awesome, and really, a handful of takedowns can really put this in Younger's favor. Now, so that's my read. My final prediction was that 5-5 split with Kennedy getting the major for the win. A comment I made on the show, sometimes I like to be out ahead of things, right? I like to be like, all right, Angelo Ferrari, they're going to use him against Oklahoma State. He's going to beat Dustin Plott, and it's going to win the duel for Iowa. So I like to be out in front of things. For the Iowa State duel, I'm happy to be a year late here. I don't want to be. It's just there's so much data, and that Iowa just wins this match, regardless of the matchups or how they could win or how the Cyclones should win. Iowa just wins this one, and I'm not ready to say Iowa State's going to do it. They have the team that can do it. You could say they're favored in 6 matches. It's in Ames, Iowa. It's going to be an insane atmosphere start to finish. but I got the Hawks. Hawks by 1. It's going to be absolutely incredible wrestling. Starts at noon Central, I want to say, 1 Eastern. I think it's live on ESPN, so make sure you're checking it out. Those are my predictions. They're worth as much as you paid to watch this video. Absolutely nothing, but I appreciate you tuning in, and I'm most interested to know what you think. Who do you think ends up winning this dual meet? I want to hear from you.